Hello, you're welcome. My name is Bilikis, and firstly, I want you to check if you are still subscribed to our channel. And if you are not, just take some time to hit on the subscribe button and tap on the notification bell. This helps you get a notification each time I put up a video. Guess what we will be making today? I will be making a wrap dress, and trust me, it's like the easiest thing ever, as I will always say. I will be using this beautiful fabric to make that, and trust me, you will enjoy making yours. Before we get started, the tools are still very much available: the hip curve, the pan curve, and the armhole curve. I will put the contact number in the comment section below, and it will be pinned, so that will be the first comment you will see. So right now, let's get started. Now this is my fabric pin folded. This is the wrong side and this is the right side. Just ensure you get that. So I will be using this upper part for the upper part and lower part will be for the lower part. So what I will do now is fold my fabric. Now we will use the measurements from the nape of our neck down to our waist. So from that, you now take the largest circumference, which is my bust. You divide it by 4 and then add like 1 or 2 inches to that. So that will be the yardstick for your folding. So here I have 12, so which is enough for the folding. The next thing now is to draw a straight line that will be the basis for all our measurements. After doing that, the next thing is half of my armhole. Half of my armhole is 8.5. The next thing will be my waist. My waist measurement is 16.5, but I will need half an inch to join it to the lower part, so that will make it 17. The next thing is to make all these points into a straight line. The next thing is to determine the shoulder slope, which we normally use the 3 inches, 8 inches standard. Then from here I will come down by 1 inch. This helps us to determine the shoulder slope because our shoulder isn't straight. And once that is done, the next thing is to insert half of my shoulder measurement, which is 8.5. I will go over to the chest line, in which I used half of my armhole to determine that line, and also insert the 8.5 and connect with a ruler. Having done that, let us just finish up with the circumferences. So quarter of my bust measurement is 10.5, which is here. Then I will add 1 inch side seam allowance to it. So for the waist, for this I will be taking in that. If the fabric is so soft and flexible, you could ignore that, but because this is a cotton material, I would just like to add that to that. So before inserting my waist measurement, first let me just map out the dart. So right now, you need your bust band. What is your bust band? The distance from one nipple to another. Like half of mine is 4.5. So I will place the 4.5 here. And I will place it here. If you've been following my videos, you would have been used to all this. So this is it. Then you just take in half an inch on both sides. Half an inch. Can you see that? On both sides. So for the front, you just come down by 1 inch. Also for the back, you could come down by 1 inch, or better still, you could just draw it straight up. So for the front, I'll just come down by 1 inch, which is here. Then connect the dart. So this is the dart in which you will be taking in. Remember, there is no zip allowance for this wrap dress. After doing that, then quarter of my waist measurement, that is my waist circumference divided by 4, that's 9 inches. You could add ease to that. But remember, we are taking this dart in, which is 1 inch. So you have to add 1 inch to the 9 inches. That will make it 10 inches. So that will be here. Then I will add the 1 inch for the side seam allowance. So we are good to go. So this is the seam allowance. So this will be straight. Then back to the armhole. Just get the half of this. For the front, you just come in by 3/4 inch. Let me see that. And I'll take my armhole to connect that. This is for the front, and this will be for the back. Yeah, done. So right now we go over to the neckline. For the neckline, depending on how wide you want it to be, but for this, since it's a wrap dress and I won't want it to be too open in front, but if you want it to be wider, you could go as far as 4 inches, 4.5, or maximum of 5 is always okay at times. But I will just maintain this 3 inches, or better still make it 3.5. I will just, so the 1/2 inch will be along this slope area. So the 1/2 inch is okay. So for the back, since I'll be using this to cut also for the back, this will be for the front, I will also use it for the back. So I'll just come down by 1 inch. Then use my armhole curve to curve that out. As I will always stress, do not forget your shoulder sewing allowance. So I'll just come up by 1/2 inch. Here also 1/2 inch. Right. Then I can cut this out. After cutting it out, this is what I have. So I will use this now. This will be one panel for the front. So I will use this now to cut out for the back panel. So what I will do now is to take my fabric, move it forward. I said I want to use this lower part for the lower part of the dress. So I will move it forward and still make use of this part. So right now I haven't folded it, so I place this on this, just try to pin it down, and then I will trace it out. So now this will now be for the back. This will be for the back. So I will keep this, and then now we can move to the front. So before going further, I will just trim off this front armhole because I wanted to use this to cut out the back panel. That was why I left this. So right now I will trim it off. Then with the creases here, I will know this is for this is the middle point. So now I will just open it up. Now you can determine the depth of your neckline. So but I will just make 5. Remember, I already came down by 1 inch before I curve that out. So the 1 inch will start from here. So I will place it 1 inch. So depending on how low you want it to be. So you could decide to make it 5, 6, depending on what you want. So I will just make it 6 inches. So you could go lower than that. It depends on what you want. So now, what I will now do is, because I still want to maintain that portion, I will just make the curve like this. But you can decide to make it like this. But because I still want this chop to be obvious, so I will leave it like that and then cut this way. So now, having noticed the depth of your neckline, just take your hip curve from this point down to this part. Because of the belt, you can decide the width of your belt. If you want it to be 1.5 or 1 inch, it depends on you. But I could just make mine 1.5, which is 1 inch. 1 inch is okay, yeah. So this is where it will stop. So I will make the curve You could just draw a straight line, but I just like to use the equal to do that. So this is what I will do. Can you see this? So we will be having two of these. So this will overlap the other. So one this way and one this way. So once I cut this off, I will use this as a pattern for the other one. So right now I will cut this off, because we don't want to go through the stress of cutting out the pattern. So this is what I have. So this is the wrong side. So once I cut one more of this, so after sewing you have something like this. So this will overlap this. If we cut out another one, it will be coming below this. So let's cut the second one. So right now this is the right side of my fabric. So I want to cut out the second pattern. So while cutting, either the right side should face the right side or the wrong side should face the wrong side, because you have to take note of that so that you won't have two same sides. So now this is the right side, so the right side will have to be facing this. So since the pattern is not of importance, so I will just place it this way. Please pin yours down, and then I will cut this out. So right now, after cutting it out, so by the time we open it up, let me just take the back. So this is for the back. So one of the fronts. This is another one. And you see that? So we have it overlapping each other. So what you have to do is to sew the side seam, and then you have it overlapping. Can you see that? So depending on which side you want it to end. So now I want it to end on the left hand side here. Remember, we already added hemming allowance here, and for this you won't be attaching it, because you will be tying it with so you'll be tying it here. So what I will do now is, because of that hemming allowance, just come in by 1 inch or 2 inches, so that when you tie it, it will still be okay. So it won't be edging too much by the time you want to tie it up. So you could just do 1.5 here. And then I will cut this off. And note the part that is overlapping, that I'm taking this off. Also on the lower part, you have to do the same thing. So I took out 1.5. So for the lower part too, you will be taking in 1.5. So this is what we have. For the lower part, I will leave it like that, because we will be adding a press button or either a button to this part. So let's go to the lower part. Now for the lower part, I will just be using an A-line skirt for the lower part. So we will be cutting 3 pieces, just as we have for the upper part. So this lower part now, I will just fold it. How will you know the amount of fabric to fold? You just need your hip measurement, quarter of your hip measurement, which mine is 11, plus minimum of 5 to 6 inches is okay. So now I said my quarter of my hip measurement on fold is 11 inches. So I will just add 6 inches to it. That will make it 17. Then plus 1 inch hemming allowance, that will make it 18. But better still, you could do minimum of 5 inches. If you want to do minimum of 5 inches, 11 plus 5, that will make it 16. Then plus 1 inch hemming allowance, that will make it 17. So okay, let's go for that. So this is what I have. So can you see it is more than enough? So now here I have, let me measure out. So I have 27, which is okay for the skirt. So now what I will do is this. Before we continue, 3 meters of fabric is enough to make a wrap dress. So because I've gotten questions like how many meters of fabric would be okay, 3 meters of fabric would be okay for a wrap dress. So now since I want 27 inches, because this might be uneven, do you get that? So I will just start measuring from beneath. Plus hemming allowance, I want it to be 27. So I will just leave the selvage because I will be folding it in. So 27 is here. I will come here again, 27. Then I will make this into a straight line. So now the next thing now is to insert my waist measurement. First, you need to determine from your waist down to your hip measurement, whatever yours is. Like mine is 6 inches. So you should determine yours. So because of the hemming allowance, I will make it 6.5 because you need half an inch also to join it to the upper part. So that will make it 6.5. If you are wondering how did I get this, just subtract your waist measurement, that is the vertical measurement. Like from the nape of my neck to my waist is 16.5. From there to your hip, whatever yours is, just subtract your vertical waist measurement from your hip measurement. Then you get that. So here now I have 6.5. So that is from my waist to my hip. 6.5. Then I will make it into a straight line. So now I will insert quarter of my waist measurement. Here I have 9 inches. I won't be adding a dart to this because it is a flare skirt. So that will be 9 inches plus 1 inch. Then for my hip, quarter of my hip is 11 inches. Because I want it to be free, I will just make it like 12 inches just for it to be free. So here I have 12 inches and plus 1 for the hemming allowance. And then I will connect this straight down to this part. I will use my hip curve to achieve this. The next thing is to use my ruler. So this is one part of the skirt. Then I will cut this out. But for this part, just come up by half an inch. Half an inch. And then take your hip curve and just connect it down to the line. So this is what I will be cutting out. So I will cut this out and show you how it looks. So after cutting this out, this will be for the back. Can you see that? Then we will cut 2 of these for the front panel. But to have this flare effect here, you have to come up by 2 inches. Let's come up by 2 inches here. Then take your hip curve and just connect down to the bottom. So this will be going off. So this is what I have. So for the second flare, I will take my fabric again and fold in the same manner. Then place this on it, and I will cut out 2 more. So right now, I place this on the second one to cut out the second one. Then I will cut the third one. Like here, I utilize this part because after cutting the first one, I have more fabric here. So I have to place this upside down just to make use of the fabric. But if you are doing that, make sure your pattern is like mine, so it doesn't really comes out hard. So now I will be folding this to get the third one because I have more fabric here. So I will fold this way and then place this back upright. So right now I have 3. 1, 2, 3. So these are all on the wrong side. So now remember I said I want it to overlap on the left side. So now I will put the 2 away, open this up. Remember this is the right side, so the right side will be below. This is the wrong side. So now I will place the wrong side on the right side. Remember after sewing, this is what we have. We have the right side. So this is what we have. So this will go in before this overlaps this. So now, okay, sorry, this is the wrong side. The wrong side was placed on this because the right side will be at your back. So the right side again on this, then the left side. So we have two upper right sides. So now remember I said I want it to hem here, and because of the hemming allowance we have added is included in all this, I said we should come in 1.5 from here. So we will do the same thing to these lower parts. So 1.5, which is here. So from the fold, this is the midpoint. So what I will do now is to curve this. If you just want a straight wrap dress, just make it straight this way and trim this off. But if you want it to have like a curvy effect, all you have to do is you note this lower point. We came in 1.5, so you will join this in a curvy manner to this. So this is what I have. I will just use my hip cuff to do that. So I will just, this is the midpoint, and I'll keep going. Can you see this? If you want it to be straight, just make it straight all through and then trim this off for only one piece, please. So now because I want it to be curved, that was why I did it this way. So now for the upper part, I will be trimming this off. So note for the upper one, because I want it to end here and I want it to have that curvy effect. Please don't try what I am doing. Make sure you remove the upper part first. So this is, use this. Can you see that curvy effect? So by the time you join it, this matches each other and then has a curve. So the belt will be attached here. So after doing that, I will remove this upper part. So now for the other one that will go in here, that will meet this one here, this and this has to meet. You can decide to have this in a straight line. This is the edge, because you don't want to have this flare on these parts. So you can just make it straight and then just trim it off a little. Or better still, you can have this curve, same as this curve. So this also will curve here, and then you have something like this. By the time this is like this, and then you curve this here, then you have two curves. So by the time, so this will go this way and the other one will go that way. So let us try that. So let me remove this again. So now to make it easier for you so that you won't cut your lower fabric, just remove that of the back, then place this again. So if you want to have this same curve, just like the one we did for this, all you have to do is, remember this was this way. So all you have to do is to do what? Turn it this way. Make sure it matches the waist and hip area. So after placing it this way, can you see that? Then you trace this. But remember, we already took in 1.5 feet from this. But this will be starting from here. So all you have to do is this straight line. Make sure you link it to this. Yes. Then I can remove this and then cut off from here. So this is what I have now. So I will start from the back again. This is for the back. So after sewing this will be the one going in that will match this one that is inward. Can you see what we have? And this will be the one after attaching here that will end with this. Can you see the wrap dress has already taken shape? Looking at it, it has already taken shape. So you can see the curvy effect. So by the time you open it or you are walking, you just have this curvy effect. except you want it to go inward a little, you can just curve it in a little, and also the lower one a little. But for this, it's okay for me. Can you see that? So by the time I just attach my belts to this part and this part, and I tie it, so when I'm walking it just have this flary and curvy effect, which is very nice. So the next thing now is to cut out the sleeve and the belt. So right now for the belt, because I want the belt after attaching to this and then the other one to this part, I want it to go over like twice. So that was why I made it so long. Looking at it, can you see that? So but before the belt, let me just show you what it looks like after sewing. Like for the upper part, all you have to do is this. Join it here, the hemming allowance of 1 inch we left. After joining it here, then the shoulder hemming allowance here also. After doing that, make sure you take in your dart. Remember this, can you see that was why I left this? So you take in your 1/2 inch dart on both sides here, and also for the back. So after sewing it, this is what it will look like. Can you see that? So this will go in. So there will be a press button for you to attach this to this, and this will overlap. Can you see what we have? So this is exactly what it will look like. So for the lower part also, let me open it up. So all you have to do is to attach the hemming allowance on both sides. Then remember, this will go in for the left side because we want it to end on the left side. So the left hand side will go in. Can you see that? Why this will overlap this way? Can you see that? So this is what we have. Then the next thing is to attach this upper part to the lower part. You attach it in such a manner. Can you see that? So right now, after joining the upper part to the lower part, this is how it looks. So the next thing now is to fold this, the left side inward. Can you see that? And then you attach a press button here. Can you see that? If you want it sleeveless, you leave it like that. If you want it with a sleeve, you have it. And then this goes over this way, overlaps this way. Can you see that? Then you have your wrap dress. So you fix in one belt here, one belt here. So you tie it and it will go over again. And that is just it on how to make a wrap dress. If my tutorial has been helpful, just give me a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe. Bye.